everyone, Dr. Mac here with my video number 12. Now this video is very important. You need to know exactly which tools you're using to get a good end result. The problem arises when we don't know exactly which burr to use and we end up with something not exactly that we were hoping for because we didn't have the right tools from the start. So when we talk about the preparation tasks, which are the endo, excess opening, the cavity prep, and crown preparation, you need to know exactly which burrs to use and which are a bit more beneficial for you when you're doing these preparation tasks. Now, again, a lot of things do come with a bit of comfort level as well. I always suggest that, do follow what's been taught to you by someone. However, if it doesn't suit you and the other burr style suits your hand style, I would suggest move it and make sure whatever you're using should give you that nice end result. Okay, so today I'm just gonna tell you from my point of view which burrs should be used in which task and what are the reasons for it. And then you have a bit of an idea from my side as well, which burrs do I prefer using and which one I do prefer and recommend from my side. And later again, it's up to you. If you feel that you're more comfortable with another burr, you can use it and so on. Okay, first thing, we all have something like a compilation of this, right? So many burrs we've been collecting, we've been doing the exams. First thing, you chuck everything away. Chuck everything away, whatever the burr sets you have. We only will be focusing on this. Okay, we'll only be focusing on this. The ADC burr kit we get, okay? Now, there are 2-3 burrs missing here. Later, ADC added the Endo Z burr as well, right? So the Endo Z burr is missing in this one. This looks something similar to an Endo Z, but this is not an Endo Z burr. It was a bit different one. If you see this one here, this pear-shaped burr normally is in blue color. I think I misplaced it. I think last time when I gave a demo to someone. So this is a red one here. Normally it's a pear-shaped. Remaining the burrs are pretty similar that what we normally get in the exam. Okay, so you just focus on this ADC kit, the one you get from One Dental. Do not focus on other burrs. You may get a comfort level from a specific burr, and then if you don't get it in the exam, it just spoils everything. So make sure practice with the tool that you will get in the exam. Okay, let's talk about crown preparation to begin with. And also there's missing like a green burr, which is a sort of like a needle shaped resembling these ones here, the two in the middle. So there's one like that, which is again missing. Okay, so let's talk about crown preparation task to begin with. Yep, for crown preparation, I only use these 3 burrs. Let me put them down so you can clearly see it. So these are the only 3 burrs I use for my crown preps. And for every crown prep, either is a PFM molar. Why is this magnetic? Normally it shouldn't be. So again, for crown preparation, we only use these 3 burrs. Right? These ones. When I talk about endo task, I start with a round burr and then I finish it off with a pear shape. Again, this thing not exactly the pear that we have in the kit, very similar. It's a bit smaller and so it's a blue one, but I use these 2 for endo. And final finishing touches if we need, or maybe not sometimes, with this one. And we'll talk about why this one, why not this one, why not this big one. Okay? And for a cavity prep, I only use these 2 burrs. That's it. So if I say crown prep, I have these three here. If I say endo, I will use all three. If I say cavity prep, then I will only use these two. So pear shape, blue band, and this one. Now this is my whole ADC journey. That's it. 6 bursts, don't need anything else. And one possible enhance point. Okay, and you can use discs and stuff, but when I talk about burrs, this is all 6 burrs that I normally use, and I normally recommend teaching with the teaching style that I teach, that you use these, and it literally does everything for you. Now again, if you feel that there's another burr, specific burr that you want to use and you're comfortable with it, might as well do it. Okay, again, whatever, like people ask me normally with a like composite task that I want to use flowable, I was like, if you can control it and if you're comfortable, use it. Similarly, like crown preparation, if you want to use another burr that you're comfortable with using, might as well do it. If you want to use Endo Z for endo, you can use it. If you want to use this one to make the anatomy a bit better, or use indented dental, you can use it. So again, it's your personal choice and your personal selection as well. And again, most important, your comfort level that suits your handwork. Let's start with cavity prep. The thing with cavity prep is, with the criteria that we need to understand, that more than 0.5 is a high likely fail, and you're going towards the fail side, right? So we need to limit the reduction as much as possible. And what I've seen, these are the tubers. If you use, you can do, so I do 95% of the job with this and final few touches with this. Okay, and the reason is because we want to limit the reduction as much as we can. Again, in the last video that I posted on YouTube, and the link is on my page, about intermittent motion, we want to practice that motion. If you practice that motion, you have a better hand control and you are not reducing excess material, excess tooth structure. Okay, that it automatically covers that side as well. Let's talk about endo. Okay, start with this. Once I find my canals and everything is looking good and decent in my opinion, I will extend everything with this, finish off with this, and final touches if I really need with this. Otherwise, majority of the time it's already clean. I may do a bit of a manual rub, and I do recommend doing a manual rub. A lot of people don't, but again, it's a basis of opinion. Don't need to question anyone, but technically it's your comfort level. So this is the burr, right? Now this burr is not like the big one. This is like the brother or the sister of the big flat surface diamond burr that we normally get, right? The reason why this one to finish and not a long one, because we need to understand is we just need to remove the roof, right? What I've seen normally is with long burrs like this or this, we end up damaging the inside walls that we shouldn't be touching in the first place. So when we talk about removing the roof, it's right to the top few millimeters. As soon as you clean that, inside walls are already clean. So, but what normally happens when we end up using these burrs, long burrs, we end up removing the roof, but this much is extra, and you will end up touching the floor, you end up touching the wall, you end up getting all those gouging and stuff, and then you'd be like, you know, how to correct that? You cannot. It's more like irreversible damage once you've done. So to avoid it, your selection of burrs should be small length. And the reason of small length is when we talk about the sort of like the whole tooth, the roof is up till here. So we just remove up till here, right? We don't need to touch all the bottom bit. Because if you end up using a burr which is this long, you may be removing up till here, but your burr is going to keep touching these walls and it's going to cause more problem, right? So make sure if you really want to use a burr, use a smaller version, the one which has a shorter length, to begin with. If you say, no, I really want to use that burr and my hand control is better, use this. Okay. The reason number 2 for not using this burr, one, it's long. Secondly, on higher friction of movement, when the burr is going at its pace, this burr is not steady. It just vibrates a bit like that. And when it vibrates a bit, you never get a very clean finish or a clean cut, and it just ends up going here and there. Always remember, guys, the thicker the burr, the smoother the finish. The thinner the burr, the rougher the finish. Because the smoother the burr, the cleaner the finish will get. The thinner the burr, it will leave you some white marks and rough. Okay? So these are my reasons behind it. Crown prep, again, 1, 2, 3. A lot of people use that green one, similar thing, but the green one is tiny bit more thicker than this for the palatal. The reason which I don't suggest using that one is you want to sustain the palatal margin below 1 millimeters if you want to say satisfactory, right? When you use the green burr, the amount of width it has, you automatically have the initial grooves at 0.8 millimeters or something. So by the time you finish, polish, you're already way over 1 millimeter. We need to understand this psychology or the phenomena that if you say, and if you don't have a good hand control in the beginning, which we all do, if you say that my initial depth grooves are 0.8, you will end 0.4 millimeter more by the time you finish, polish, or everything. So if I say that I want to keep my margin at 1.2, my initial grooves should be 0.8, 0.9. So by the time I finish polish, I'll be there. So if I say I want to keep my margin at 2 millimeters, for example, I will give my depth grooves, or the initial cut would be 1.5, 1.6. So by the time I finish polish everything, now what happens, because in the palatal we don't have a good hand control, by the time we have those initial depth grooves and everything, the diameter of the burr is very important. With the green burr, you automatically go a lot more, and then you realize I've actually already crossed 1 millimeter. And the problem there is now you've done a beautiful crown prep, everything is good, but you end up in borderline, because we need to understand, even one thing goes borderline, the whole thing is borderline now. It's not like the whole tooth is satisfactory, but my lingual margin is borderline or unsatisfactory, I will be satisfactory. No. As soon as even one thing goes, it goes. Okay. So try to use this for palatal because that's the thinnest option available. If we had a bit more thin option, I may have gone for that, but this is the thinnest option available. So I use this for proximal and this for palatal, and do everything with that intermittent motion. Try to see that YouTube link that I've posted, and same way that I'm polishing or reviewing the margin, try to do the same, and you'll see automatically your hand control is better, and this burr will do the job for you. Again, this burr, usually if we have a canine or a central incisor, to the lingual reduction is normally done by this, so we can maintain those nice lingual anatomy as well. Otherwise it'll all be flat, especially if you're trying to make those nice grooves in at the palatal. And also this is good, especially when you have those grooves in, this is nice to merge all those occlusal anatomy and those grooves and finish and polish, and this goes really well. And this is like our basic burr that we pretty much use pretty much for everything. So yeah, that's pretty much today's, to give you an idea about burr selection. So what I want you to do is look at each and every burr and just decide, why am I using this burr? Why not this? Why not this? And again, ADC exam is not about doing a beautiful work. It's all about staying in the criteria. If I can do a beautiful work, but it doesn't fit in the criteria, like I always say, it's not, there's no point, or doesn't justify what you have done. So to nail the ADC exam or to pass the ADC exam, the main thing is we need to fit in the criteria very nicely. Well clear within the criteria. So every step you follow, every step you do tells you that yes, it works. All right. So just a bit of recap. This is for crown prep, these 3 burrs only. Again, it's your choice. If you want to use another burr, if you have a reason to justify it and you feel you're comfortable, might as well do it. These 3 for endo, and then these 2 only for cavity prep. And enhance, which I pretty much use for everything. Discs, again, if you need it, if you don't need it. Sometimes I explain to people and tell them, if you have a sharp corner and if you don't have a good control with the handwork, use a bit of a soft flex to smoothen out those margins. That works really well. But other than that, I feel this will pretty much do everything for you. Don't need anything else. But again, at the end of the day, it's if your comfort level, if you're comfort with something and you can produce that result with another burr, might as well do it. Another last thing that I want to add here is normally a lot of people, another reason they use that green burr for the palatal is because they say that this one doesn't cut really easily. The reason it doesn't cut or prep really easily because this burr is now old. Because you're using this burr frequently so much, by the time you keep practicing, this wears off, all the diamond bits wear off on top. So this is not very functional in a way anymore. That's why it's a time that you replace the burr. So when I ordered my kit, these 2 burrs, I like ordered 2 of them extra. So 2 extra for that. So I have 3 of these and 3 of these, because these are the burrs you pretty much use a lot than the other ones, right? You're using so many crown preparation and you're doing an amalgam, then removing the amalgam and stuff. So these are the 2 burrs that have been highly used. Okay, so order extra for those burrs. And when you have a new burr or a functional burr, you will see that these burrs will definitely do a sufficient job for you, even on the palatal as well. Okay, and that will solve the problem for you. But again, if you think that you have a better hand control and you can limit the palatal with a green burr or even with a thicker burr under 1 millimeter or up till 1, might as well do it. Okay, it's your comfort level. I'm just sharing what I use and why I use it with my concepts in my head. Okay, another thing is I've started doing something that if someone is giving his last attempt, I want them to message me saying last attempt, DM on my page, and I will help them figure out what went wrong with the last attempt as much as I can, and will advise a plan for them and see, hopefully they have a fair chance this time that they can nail. Lastly, I'm doing an Instagram live on Monday 9 o'clock for a crown preparation. So join me there. If you have any questions for crown preparation, write them down and I can answer you there. So just in case you have any query of things you don't understand or things don't work for you, I will answer the question. I'll show you live how can you solve those tricks and a bit of tricks and tips how you can solve those issues. All right. So God bless you, everyone. Take care and see you all next time.